to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Which is based on a blog of the same name, because you can regard the podcast portion of our outfit as if it was our own out-of-left-field secret twin brother, poised to claim a slightly larger stake in the name you've come to know as having been attached to the not-so-secret first identity. Do you catch my drift? My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For at Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Is basking in the new fall season and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the Pals and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, The Vampire Diaries, The Good Place, Grace and Frankie, Game of Thrones, Broadchurch, Stranger Things, iZombie, Fuller House, American Horror Story, Doctor Who, Supernatural, The X-Files, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the 4 shows of the Arrowverse on the CW. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for a series of unfortunate events, New Girl, The Originals, Once Upon a Time, 13 Reasons Why, Orange is the New Black, Schitt's Creek, and the Marvel's Defenders panel will talk Season 3 of Daredevil. We'll be launching new panels covering Sense8, The Crown, Westworld, Arrested Development, Jane the Virgin, and The Americans. We'll be launching a new feature called Versus, where we'll be comparing shows in a spicy debate. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at one of our most popularly requested panels of all time, which is Friends. And I promise you, listener, it's not just a lie. They'll be there for you at the Central Perk sometime fall-winterish. What's more, CPU is going live again! We've been planning some live events, as I've repeatedly been alluding to in these introductions, and we're super excited about them. Our first is a special live event coming up on November 10th, 2018, when we return for our 3rd annual appearance to Grand Rapids Comic-Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and launch our newest chapter in our Versus feature called Trekking Through the Final Frontier, the CPU Voyage into the Neutral Zone. This will be the ultimate battle within the Star Trek universe and all of its generations. We also have more live appearances and other cool stuff being planned, so make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews and we always seek new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback! Just don't detonate any self-sustaining power generators with us nearby. Explosive feedback probably tests our limits. I'm sure you can understand. Today, we're around the water cooler to discuss Season 4B, capping off the arc entitled A Dark Knight, of Gotham, the crime drama based on characters appearing in and published by DC Comics from the Batman franchise, primarily those of James Gordon and Bruce Wayne. The show's 4th season finale aired on May 17, 2018. To remind the listener, created by Bruno Heller, the series stars Ben McKenzie as the young Jim Gordon long before he became commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department. As originally conceived, the series would have served as a straightforward story of Gordon's early days on the Gotham City Police Department force. The idea evolved not only to include the Wayne character, played by David Mazouz, but also to tell the origin stories of several Batman villains, including the Penguin, the Riddler, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, the Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, Hugo Strange, and the Joker. In the second half of the 4th season, Ivy Pepper, now played by Peyton List, takes drugs from an apothecary, which transforms her again. Butch Gilzean, played by Drew Powell, who became Solomon Grundy after his comatose body was dumped into Slaughter Swamp in the 4th season's first half, regains some of the awareness of his Butch identity. After Carmine Falcone's daughter, Sophia, played by Crystal Reed, takes down Oswald Cobblepot, a.k.a. the Penguin, played by Robin Lord Taylor, he is sent to Arkham Asylum where he meets Jerome Valeska, played by Cameron Monaghan. Eventually, Valeska, Jervis Tetch, also known as the Mad Hatter, and Jonathan Crane, also known as the Scarecrow, escape from Arkham and team up with Victor Freeze, a.k.a. Mr. Freeze, Bridget Pike, aka Firefly, Penguin, and Grundy to create a supervillain team known as the Legion of Horribles. In addition, the energies that Ra's al Ghul, played by Alexander Siddig, placed in Barbara Keene, played by Aaron Richards, call the rest of the League of Shadows to her. The female members pledge their loyalty to her, giving her partners Tabitha Gallivan, played by Jessica Lucas, and Selena Kyle, played by Cameron Beacondova, pause. At this time, our committed group of bad fans, namely Hilary, Kyle, Spencer, and Nick, are back to dissect in our usual devoted detail, for better or for worse, the second half of Gotham Season 4. We're also going to speculate, as we often do, upon what might happen in the 5th season, which on May 13th, 2018 was announced to be Gotham's final season, and which will be shorter than the previous seasons, having fewer episodes and beginning sometime after the start of the new year. Before we do, as always, I'm going to take a moment to double check the panel's temperature. After all, as we all know, sometimes a TV show can take turns for the better or the worse in our heads, or can continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon its story evolution. And with Gotham, we just never know. So as always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed all of Gotham to date, and will, let's face it, discuss sensitive plot points. So for those of you who are not caught up on this show, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you?
Great. Good.
Was that a clown shoe?
No.
Awesome.
Just checking.
That's why.
We'll just keep referencing shoes all the way through.
Yes.
Oh, brother. Good grief. Holy good grief, Batman. Are you ready to talk about Season 4B of Gotham?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I think they are. They seem okay. They're ready. They prepared themselves on the inside. So, how would you rate your interest in the show nowadays? I have
5 stars.
No, that's not what I meant.
Settle down, Nick.
Yeah, settle down. We're doing the standard safety
Have you been having some of that tiny bottle of wine?
No.
It's a vicious rumor. We're going to be doing this along this standard CPU character question, which changes with each show we do. Not the star rating scale, Nick. So what I'm going to do is read the character question as it stands today. I have tweaked it some. I actually didn't tweak it too much between the 2 half seasons, just because I think
still sucks. Just kidding. Continue on.
I was just going to say I don't think the characters changed as much this time compared to normal. So how would you rate Gotham after the 4th season nowadays? Do you watch it for a more detailed backstory about the Caped Crusader, as you're interested in his childhood, what made him decide to fight crime as Batman, and how he decides to finally don the cape in question, bats and all, like Bruce Wayne? Do you watch it because you feel enough attention hasn't been paid to supporting characters in the mythology, and you wonder how everyone in Gotham City made the choice of the right or wrong side of the line? Or you're watching because you're sticking with the show, for better or for worse, as you think it's fighting its way back from the darkness, just like you did, like Jim Gordon. Do you watch it to learn the backstories of Batman's biggest foes and how they finally came into their identities, like Edward Nygma, aka the Riddler, and or became worthy of Batman's attention, like Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin? Do you watch it because you love the backdrop that is Gotham City, even though you know it has its flaws? In fact, you accept those flaws and are more than willing to navigate them if it helps get the job done, like Harvey Bullock. Do you watch it because you're very protective of the legacy of the franchise, particularly the young boy who would be Batman one day? In fact, you love the boy so much you're willing to fall on your sword for the boy and for this show, like Alfred Pennyworth. Do you watch it because you're thrilled to embrace the show for what it is, and to embrace the person you become when you watch it, despite the show's and your considerable flaws, warts and all, like Leslie Lee Tompkins, aka the Doc? Do you watch it because you think it is capable of change and has adjusted to its different directions smoothly, as you did with your career change to the GCPD, like Lucius Fox? Do you watch it because you think the show has found itself again, even though it is not smoothly adjusted to all of the different directions? You're willing to take the chance that it will find new life again, no matter the risk, like Butch Gilzine, a.k.a. Cyrus Gold, a.k.a. Solomon Grundy? Do you watch it because you decided to take more agency in your game of survival by embracing the parts of the show you do like and watching what comes next, even if there's an excellent chance you might not like what's coming, because you need to get something out of all the time you put into watching it? Plus, you like young Bruce Wayne more than you want to admit, like Selena Kyle or Kat. Do you watch it because even though you acknowledge that it's up, it's down, it's all over the place, it's really meant for something more and has a greater destiny, even if it's really hard to apply yourself to watching it long enough to see it, like Barbara Keene? Do you watch it because you're... Oh no, it's already spilling out. Do you watch it because your friends watch it and you're nothing if not loyal to your friends? That's really the only reason you're watching it, like Tabitha Caliban. Do you watch it but you don't like it anymore and are ready to switch your loyalties to either someone who can handle writing for the Batman property properly, if not well, or to another comic book show entirely like Victor Zsasz, or you stopped watching or you jumped the shark because, spoiler, you were shot and fell into a coma like Sophia Falcone, or you died, at least on the inside, probably, again, who knows if it sticks, like Rachel Gould. Who would like to start?
Nick here.
Hi, Nick here.
I think Bullock is where I would land.
That's who you were last time.
Yeah. I like the Gotham backdrop. And every once in a while, there's moments that remind me of the Batman universe.
Sounds about right. You sound real sure.
Yeah.
That's as good as it's gonna get there.
All right. Welcome back, Nick here.
I'm Spencer,
Hi, Spencer.
and this time I am Grundy and Zaz.
Oh boy, you fell.
Yep.
Last time you were the whole buffet except the last three, and now you've got one of the last three in there.
It needs to be turned over to somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Actually, what we really need is a good Batman TV series that isn't Elseworlds, whatever this is. This tying itself off at the end of a shortened season is not going to be a bad thing for me.
Fair enough. Welcome back, Spencer.
Thank you.
I'm Kyle.
Hi,
Are
Kyle.
you
You go
do the
first, you have to give the
disclaimer.
disclaimer.
And the one complaining is clearly my wife.
Spencer's your wife. I knew it all along.
Oh, shut up.
I'm just kidding.
And her name is Hilary.
Hi.
I'm part of the disclaimer, too.
And the moderator is my sister-in-law.
Woohoo!
Yay.
You did it! Yay, Kyle! The
He's
world is off its axis! That's a holdover from the Marvel podcast.
And I'd still say I fall somewhere in the Riddler. Like, I still watch the show for all the villains and their backstory. Jerome and Scarecrow, I mean, are like the redeeming factor of this season for me. But I would say a little bit of Jim Gordon, because for better or for worse, I just kind of stick with it.
Fair enough. Welcome back, Kyle. Nice disclaiming.
So I'm Hilary.
Hi, Hilary.
So I think I was last time Harvey and Selena.
Yep.
That's still going to be the same because I do want to watch it in the hopes I'll get some sort of feel of actual Gotham backdrop, but I do not accept its flaws like the description says. Also,
You have a crush on Bruce.
no, that's the Selena part we didn't get, but that's still weird. Why do you have that in there?
Because it's true.
I mean, yes, but he's a child.
She only likes the one character, Bruce Wayne.
But anyways, I'm still hurt because I still feel like I'm trying to survive that.
Because she's attracted to young boys.
This just took a turn. But anyways, I'm
very
trying to
sassy
survive
panel.
his comment, and I just feel like, I still want to get something out of it. I think that was a good thing to add to that description, but it still hasn't happened, so there's that. And then I'm going to add Zaz as well, because I really just wish there's so much material with Batman. Everybody loves Batman and its characters. As Kyle has said in the past, it's usually people's gateway character into the comic book universe, and they're just not doing it any ounce of justice at this point. Well, maybe little moments like Nick said, and we can talk about that. That's where I'm at.
All right.
I would have probably put a little Barbara Keene in there, except I can't put Barbara Keene in there.
Yeah, we just don't want to talk about
It was a
her.
good description with a bad name attached to it.
We just don't even want to be there.
So the subtext is, the description is right, the name is the bad thing.
We're just like, no.
Well, welcome back, Hilary.
Hey!
Hey. And last time, Kylie here, moderating, doing the thing. Last time I was 50% Harvey, 10% Penguin, 20% Riddler, 20% Bruce Wayne.
So you say something about me, but
Congratulations, there's your
got...
math lesson for the week.
Because you guys made me proportion it out, and I've just kept it for your benefit. Really, though, if I was going to be accurate about my descriptions, I am in the Penguin Riddler plus Selena camp at this point. I am now trying to survive it myself a little bit. This last half season really, I mean, they had a great momentum in the first half season, but like Gotham does, it kind of went into weird places. Jerome is great. We'll talk about Jerome. There were some other good moments, but the whole Riddler storyline I was not having it. And Penguin was basically neutered this half season when he's one of the strongest actors on the whole thing.
It's uncomfortable.
And the Bruce and the Selena piece of the story were good, better by the end, but it's just all over the place again. And I think what we've said repeatedly all along, and what we're probably going to say again, is no matter what Gotham's trying to be, I don't even think it knows anymore. It's just
throwing stuff at the wall.
It's throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks, and it's crazy bad in ways that it can't even be quantified, except for the little moments that make us still come back and watch it. So that's Gotham. Let's talk about season 4.
Oh, we're done podcasting?
I think for me, the most cringeworthy thing about this back half is Barbara ordering around the League of Assassins.
She's the demon's head. I told you that glowy hand thing was a thing.
Yeah. She tried to steal the Iron Fist from Marvel.
Which is still ridiculous, because in the comics, the demons... That's what Ra's al Ghul translates to. It's not a power. That's literally his name.
I understand.
So then they created, it's one other instance of them thinking that they're more clever than the source material, and it was just ridiculous.
But then to attach her to it at all is just simply ridiculous.
You just lost all your credibility there.
She's literally the last person in the world the comics book Ra's al Ghul would ever respect. Respect.
In any way, shape, mean, or form.
Yeah.
Except for she resembled
somebody
lover,
that was good to him at one point in time.
He had.
So he's superficial.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Never mind about his daughters and their mothers. Okay.
It's just bad. And then, because for me, I really love everything with Jerome, and they literally intercut every one of Jerome's storylines with hers. So it's like I'd start to pick up interest, and then it'd cut to her, and then I'd instantly zone out again. It just completely drew me out of it.
I think they backed themselves into a corner from season 1 and decided we have to keep this character around, but we don't know what to do with her.
No.
But that's what it feels like. They were, I don't know if she was contracted.
Maybe they had her contracted for 4 years.
They just said in an interview that she was originally going to be Harley Quinn.
Oh my god.
And that got kiboshed by Warner.
Yeah, because, it leaked. And the fan response was horrible.
Well,
and so
because
then they had to
she's
quickly...
horrible. I mean...
Which they kind of teased in one of the earlier episodes with Jerome, where they take over that benefit, and she's wearing a leotard, and she's being Jerome's little...
That's where I thought
foil
they were
side.
going.
Yeah, I think we
and that's where it was going to go, and then it went on break after that, and then people heard the Harley rumors.
I think the big problem with that character as a whole is they introduced her as Jim's girlfriend, Barbara, from the beginning, and everyone knows where that goes in the comic book world. Then they had zero chemistry together on screen, so they took her in a different direction, and
she also tries to murder him. They write her as irredeemable, so you don't want her to be Barbara Gordon anyway.
Yeah, she was broken from the beginning, and it never
really been unlikable from the start for me personally, and I literally cannot think of her without having F-bombs floating all in my brain that I can't use here.
That's true. Violates community standards.
She's just so bad. It's one of the most ridiculous characters, sorry to that actress, ever. I'm
not even sorry to the actress. I don't think she's that good. I've not seen her in anything else either.
Gosh.
And she's not believable.
So ridiculous. It's grating to watch.
Yeah. This storyline was... Well, I agree. I agree with everything Hilary said. I've been complaining about Barbara since the beginning. There's not one episode we've done of Gotham where I haven't complained about Barbara.
And I think we've all agreed on that.
Yeah, she is my least favorite character. And trying to imbue her with some sort of importance and giving her over to the League of Shadows, which is a fairly robust segment of the comics.
Well, it's it's already so unbelievable because, she had risen up so far in the crime world, which I don't find her more intelligent or believably more intelligent or threatening than any of these other major characters that are in the world. And then to bring it to that next level,
she's not even the most believable in her own little circle. Tabitha was far more believable than Barbara was.
And Selena's the smartest of all of them.
Yeah.
So which was supposed to happen, but It's just weird.
I think the saving grace is that they at least pulled Selena out of that hole and gave her more just her and Bruce.
I mean,
scenes.
I've been saying from the beginning that Carmen Beacondova as Selena Kyle, again, I'm a huge Catwoman fan. I literally own a plethora of just Catwoman comics. She is the closest adaptation in that show to the character that you can be. And those are the actual moments, and I think I said that in the last podcast. Those are the little moments I enjoy. They give you at least that. But then, like Kyle said, as he was saying, he's excited by all the Jerome moments, that it's totally taken away by all the other ridiculousness that's happening surround it. And the way it's segmented.
It's like what you said at the beginning with Penguin being neutered. One of the best characters up to at the end of 4A, they were building him, and he was heading in the right direction. And then all of a sudden, what was he? A wet lettuce leaf. It was just terrible.
He was a side character. He was not.
Well, and I thought, how promising to put him in the cell next to Jerome in Arkham Asylum.
What a waste of Robin Lord Taylor.
What a waste of that entire potential moment right there. What did it all amount to? Well, Jerome's just going to torture him just because he wants to have Jerome Joker-like fun that doesn't really mean anything in the end. And then let's break out and you can join my Legion of Horribles. Except, they say later, he always knew you were going to betray him. So what was the point of that? You know? It just really was just to put Penguin and Joker, not Joker, together like they appear in other properties and other places, and it just blew apart in the end. It was pointless.
Well, they took two of the best villains in the show in the second half of this season, in Penguin and Riddler, and ruined them.
Yes. And that whole Narrow storyline, to me, was actually slightly worse than the Barbara Ra's al Ghul storyline, only because Dr. Bashir plays Ra's al Ghul. He gets a little, 10% bump for that. The Riddler storyline, what the hell was that?
Taking the Riddler away from Ed was a disaster.
It's the whole...
And then splitting him out and having him argue with himself in the mirror didn't make any sense.
Well, it was 300 steps back to season 1, number 1.
It's the whole flaw of the show. Oh, the fans want to get to the point where we see these characters as they're supposed to be, but it's supposed to be before that happens. So we get there, we take it back. Oh, this is the Joker, it's a fake Joker. They've been doing that all along.
But, even still, we went into the show not expecting it to be exactly like that. And, we've talked about that in the beginning, even before Nick joined. We never expected it to be an exact adaptation, but to be so far off. I mean, it's just, again, clearly bad continuity in writing, because you could still do what he's saying without making it this messed up.
They just undid so much good work.
Yes,
right.
The good work they had done has now been undone.
And it's one thing, the problem is that when they decide to take it back, they take it back to the beginning of this series. It's one thing to say, okay, Ed is somehow a schizophrenic guy who is toying with two primary personalities. Okay, that was established in the beginning. But he's doing it in the exact same way.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't defending it. I'm saying what they're doing is wrong.
Which was
makes
icky.
No sense.
When they kissed, I was like, ew.
It was better than the whole idea of he and Penguin being in love with each other.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Because that did not work.
No.
You can't.
Well, Ed didn't like Penguin. That was
the whole thing just didn't work.
Yeah.
No. That's all I can say. And and like Marina, I love her. I've said that before. I don't like where they took her character.
No.
Well, in the comics, her and Alfred co-raise Bruce. She's his surrogate mother.
She becomes...
And then in the comics, when he's Batman, she runs an orphanage where she takes care of kids, and then she also fixes up Bruce when he needs medical attention.
But no, she's...
There's no way this character's ever reaching that point either.
Right.
Well, and I just didn't care about her.
And
I haven't cared about her since they decided to shuttle her off and away from Jim and pair her with the Falcons.
Yeah.
They were basically
They were trying to come up with
steering her
manufactured
towards
drama, but it worked. They should have just kept her with Jim in a relationship. That she was still interesting, she was still part of the story, and she was helping him. You didn't have to keep turning every... You don't have to turn every love interest into a villain. Which is what they do to Jim. Every love interest he's ever had on the show becomes a villain of his at some point.
That's true.
And then they took Grundy, which they had actually done a pretty good job of, and ruined him
Well,
by bringing him back to being Butch again.
Other than the laughable wig. But
Yeah.
And the bad, like...
She can't take Grundy seriously.
But
Like
any
at
good
all.
they did with him, they ruined by
Yeah.
bringing him back to being Butch
Butch.
at the end. It just seems they keep, like Nick said, they keep taking a character, developing it, and then going, oh no, we can't go there, and bringing it back. And it just...
Well, I think with
speaking
that
of
one
that,
they did.
They also just announced that Jeremiah, even though they said he is the real Joker, now they're saying neither of them are the Joker.
Well, to be fair, so that actually gets into the big twist of this half season. That, Jerome causes a bunch of havoc in Gotham City. It's very Jack Nicholson Joker-like, actually. They overtake some music
The party, the
festival.
balloon, all
Yeah,
of that
all
stuff
of
was
it.
90s Batman comic, animated Batman.
Yeah, wires them up with bombs. They're going to drop us very Smilex-like laughing gas on the city. And then we discover, he has the secret twin brother that we never knew about, who's mousy and scientific and...
Has been doing a lot of work for Wayne Enterprises.
Exactly. And he exposes a special... Oh, by the way, this gas was concocted by the Scarecrow. Exposes him to a special formula of this gas, which somehow makes him insane, although I think maybe you're supposed to buy that he was always insane and just brought it out of him. Jerome gives his speech when he's dangling from the rooftop, and Jim's trying to pull him up about he'll always be an idea, what someone, people in the dark shadows and the alleyways aspire to. I thought that was brilliant. And then I remember and I listened to the last episode where everybody was complaining that they were dialing back whether or not Jerome was the real Joker. And then they did what they did with Jeremiah and tried to sell him as the Joker. I wouldn't have believed it anyway.
Right.
He wasn't acting like the Joker.
He's acting like a very specific Joker.
Okay.
The Killing Joke.
Well, Jeremiah is more the Dark Knight Returns, the comic book, not Dark Knight Rises movie, but in that version, the Joker has been in a coma for like 20 years because Batman's been gone. Batman comes back, and then he wakes up from his coma. But he's not, like, the laughing maniacally. He's much cold and calculating and very soft-spoken. Like, he's a very different Joker. And they very clearly just did that one take of Joker from this one comic book is where they wanted to take Jeremiah. Because it's literally exact, almost line for line, and how he talks to people.
But ultimately it doesn't matter.
Yeah, my brain explodes a little with that information.
It's just
Well,
some
Cameron
writer
Moynihan was one of
wrote
the high points, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Plus-
his acting ability is fantastic. I would love to see him as Joker in something else.
And the Scarecrow was really well done.
The Scarecrow's very well done. I wish there was like a really
More of
good
him.
story around
Yeah.
them.
And
they used
Cameron
him.
Manheim released
Well,
the
he's like-
WB's list of what he was allowed to do. They wouldn't let him do green hair. They wouldn't let him laugh for so long.
Warner Brothers, I've
Like,
got
he has this
you.
huge list of ridiculous things that he couldn't do as the Joker that he had to go around for both versions.
That doesn't even make any sense. Why? The next Joker vehicle is that Elseworld version.
How has Warner Brothers at this point not got that they're holding themselves back with their best properties? How do they not understand that after, 10 years now of completely screwing up DC
sure, it's
Universe?
successful and people are still willing to go see it because they love it that much, but imagine how much more successful it would be.
They've been getting all. There's been a lot of complaints.
Oh,
but it's-
yeah.
Well, I mean, their next series is Pennyworth, the origin of Alfred. Like, anybody asked for
There's
that.
Nobody
wants that.
If Sean Pertwee was playing it, I would watch it.
I would
however.
consider watching
But it's
it,
not
I
even
know.
connected to this. But it's just
I know.
about how a British SAS guy becomes a butler. Is that a show anybody wants to watch?
Yeah, but let's be honest, we all said we weren't even interested in the Krypton show, and apparently that's pretty good.
But I mean, that has a dynamic. That
At least has Krypton.
interstellar.
Yeah, but it's Superman, but it's without Superman at all.
But I mean, you at least get like Doomsday and Lobo and like all
I
these
was
other
gonna say, and I've read
Superman characters.
pre-Superman stories. Like, there's lots of,
There's actually something to
books.
mine there. But with Alfred,
and it's actually pretty good. This is just one
This is
guy.
like if James Bond stopped being 007 and went to
I'm going to disagree. I actually
no,
find
the
the
way
character...
somebody else described it is it's like a romantic comedy about how Uncle Ben and Aunt May dated. Like, nobody wants to see that. They want to see Spider-Man.
But I actually find the character of Alfred to be intriguing, so seeing his backstory to me isn't actually that bad of an idea.
But I mean,
But
how
it's
about
you
series?
can
It
be
depends
the
on what the
one
st-
Say,
person
how's the
watching it.
stage connected?
It depends on... Yeah, you're right. It's probably a 12-episode single-season show
Yeah.
as opposed to a multi-season...
mini-series.
Yeah, it would work as a miniseries.
Because he
Or as a
probably has
movie.
demons to fight, but not something that is relevant to, like, the Batman universe at all.
No.
Well, I mean, you get in the storyline, the way that we would see it, it would be he falls from where he is in the SAS to the point where Thomas Wayne rescues him, and that's why he sticks with Bruce and helps train Bruce all the way through that. So there's elements to his story that is very interesting. Is it a standalone thing? Is it what I really want to see out of the Batman universe? No.
It sounds
But
like
all
some
of those
awesome
details-
flashbacks in a Batman show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All of those details came out from Gotham, though. I mean, I unless I'm mistaken, has there been another former SAS Alfred?
I mean, in the comics, that's the origin. In more recent comics, have flashback to get him when they flush it in.
I'm not so more recent-y on with the information piece.
Because in the comics, essentially, they say that he wasn't. Thomas Wayne hired him for protection, as like a one-man protection squad, and then they just told Bruce he was their butler because he didn't want to scare Bruce, but really he was there to protect the whole family.
Oh.
I like that better.
And his
than just
biggest
the butler.
regret that Thomas Wayne sent him away to have a movie night, and so it's like the one night he wasn't there to protect them is the night they get murdered. Which is some interesting story stuff there, but like Nick said, like that'd be an interesting 2 or 3 standalone episodes of a Batman show. But I just don't see a multi-season show.
I get what
just
you're
want a
saying.
good Batman
I just find the
show.
character interesting. Yeah, I want a proper Batman show.
Because
I
even
want a
good
proper
Batman
Superman show.
movies don't do what... I go back to the cartoon. You don't kill Joker off. He keeps coming back. You have Arkham's full.
Well,
People
and
escape.
then they've just thrown so many of the lexicon of villains out there, and they're all just like hanging out, which that doesn't happen. Like they're all just.
I don't know,
chilling
that
there.
brunch scene was pretty awesome.
I'm like,
The
what?
Legion of
And
Horrible scene was funny.
first off,
Use the tongs, Carl.
I mean that's why they're all side characters. Like Scarecrow's a side character. Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze is
Oh.
a side character.
I did like
still can't
Scarecrow, though.
stomach Mr.
But Mr.
Freeze.
Freeze is just a heavy in the background is
No.
ridiculous.
So dumb.
That is
You
really
can't
bad.
do that. You can't do that to these
Freeze is
characters.
super intelligent,
Even
and
Batman
they've
and
got
Robin
him walking
didn't
around
do
just
that to
freezing
him.
stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
He wouldn't respect any of these people. Unless they had something he could gain from, other than money, he wouldn't associate with any of these people. They're taking away like the color and the texture of their villains by just lumping them together.
Well, and there have been instances where they've allied or teamed up, but then they always descend into fighting. It doesn't make any sense. None of the things that... I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, what are they trying to do? That's what I come back to. What am I supposed to take away from this as a random viewer?
It's painfully obvious that they don't know what they're trying to do.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
they're just like taking random bits and pieces.
They're trying to reach syndication so they get a big paycheck.
Well, they're not going to make it. It's going to depend on how many shows, because they've only done 22 times 4, so they would need 12.
They need 500 episodes.
This
They
season's...
need 100 for syndication.
This season's 13, I believe IMDb has.
Okay.
Would you put him at 101?
Okay, so let's
I just
talk
think
about
Bane
how
is
dumb
the wrong...
Poison
Oh,
Ivy is.
sorry. Yeah, we should talk about
Hilary,
this season.
go!
It's hard not to post-mortem this show right now, knowing that it's coming to an end.
Poison Ivy was real dumb.
Ugh.
I mean, at least I guess now she's kind of like Poison Ivy, sort of a little,
So,
but not much.
no. And let me just talk about, again, I always make this comment because there's always people who say, oh, there's not enough like strong female characters. Poison Ivy, Pamela, she's an extreme...
You went on this rant the last 2 episodes.
Because I'm kind of tired of people saying
Can
that.
she just
'cause
cut and paste it in and
they're-
we move on?
Sure. Gosh, Spencer.
Kristen's not here. He has to take it out.
It's okay. So,
I think we all agree with you that they're
Yeah, we
doing
do.
them wrong.
but that's
Yes.
what I'm saying. But it's just so ridiculous. Again, they have that opportunity there, and they still give her such a lame ass... Sorry, I'm trying not to swear. They give her such a
A lame third origin.
Yes.
So yeah, they've done, 3 Pam Isleys, and every one of them has been terrible.
Except they're Ivy Pepper.
They're not... Yeah.
They're not
No.
Pamela Isley.
And this last one was played by Peyton List, who granted maybe
She's
did
your
the
favorite,
best
right?
of the 3, but I hate her. Do I hate her as much as Barbara Keene?
Oh, God,
No, I don't.
No,
But she would be my next least
I'd
favorite.
rather get food poisoning than have to watch Barbara Keene again.
It's so
That's
true.
awesome.
Again, that's the problem. Poison Ivy should probably be a kid in this world.
Yes. She should have stayed a kid. There was no reason to have a
And-
Poison Ivy.
And then, like, I enjoyed that moment where Selena was putting her in her place a little bit because that's relatively accurate. That was, like, one scene in the episodes that I could enjoy. but it's still...
And her conflict over it when she went to go ask Bruce for help without really asking him, because that's how she does.
Well,
And
that's
he
what I said.
says, "You're
She's-
feeling guilty, aren't you? I'll help
Well,
you."
that's what I said. That's... Selena is the most accurate. Like, that's what... Yes. There are moments that she does that frequently. But going back to the poison ivy thing, still none of that makes any sense.
There are
It's
poisonous
terrible.
plants.
I think the three core characters...
Statement.
I mean, it's supposed to be Jim Gordon. This is supposed to be the Jim Gordon story. This whole show was originated as that.
Yeah,
We haven't
that's a
mentioned
good point.
it like once.
Right.
'Cause
But the
I don't care
the
about
three
him.
core characters that they
Right?
seem to have relatively close and enjoyable
That's a
most of
good
the
point.
time, for me at least, are Bruce,
That's a good point.
Alfred, and Selena.
Yeah, at this point.
Outside of that, they've ruined everybody.
Well, he makes a good point. I mean, it's supposed to be centralized over Jim. You know, I think we originally went out thinking, oh, we're supposed to have that emotional connectivity to Jim Gordon's character.
Right.
You just said,
I
I
don't
don't
care
care. Neither do I.
Well, they ruined him in season
I
one by
love Ben
having him
McKenzie.
make...
I don't care at all. At this time, every time he goes, Kyle said before, he goes through the same battle, the same thing. He ends up,
They ruined
making
him
out
by
with
allowing
somebody.
him to make choices that Jim Gordon would never make.
And Sophia, that crap still.
Oh yeah, that was
like,
awful too. The
Well, at
Sophia
least she's in a
Falcone.
coma. By Lee.
See, I didn't
Lee
even
shot
catch
her.
that. I just thought Lee killed her.
Oh no, no! It's very obviously stated that she
I mean-
is in a coma and in
It
the
must have been
hospital.
my wishful thinking.
yeah.
She's
I mean,
better
at
than
least
Barbara.
At least she stopped talking.
She was better than Barbara. At that point, you should have just kept
Again, is
Falcone.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And is it believable that she would come out and then try to take up some sort of reign in that regard? No, it's not. It's stupid.
Well, and even just the tagline in her story was, it lacked punch because it wasn't associated with what was good about her story the first time, which was Professor Pig. He's gone. He wasn't really Professor Pig.
no.
He wasn't really Laszlo Valentine, but either way, he's gone. And so she didn't have a point, except to be crazy and want the city.
Victor
That's it.
Zaz is also good. Every time he
He
appears,
is
he
good.
brings up an episode.
But he only appeared like twice.
I know.
this
See, he's one of the weird things with Gotham where I actually like their version
Yeah,
of
he's
Victor
like an
Zsasz
also- 'cause
better
he's not
than
like
the comic.
Victor
Because in the comic
Zsasz,
books,
but-
he's just like a quiet serial killer.
Oh yeah, he's
He's
wonderful.
and
But
he's super
this
like
actor-
This
I mean,
Victor Zsasz
he's
is
so
fun.
quirky
Neurotic.
and funny. He's a highlight of the show.
He's got great
So
one-liners.
that's a great example of what we've been saying. It's not that
You can take your own approach on
Yes.
things if you do it intelligently.
and stick to it.
Yeah.
Which
Which
this is
they
their problem.
have.
They don't. They did with him,
For
but
Victor, yeah.
with a lot of characters, they just don't. It's like,
But
well, what
even
can we go with
still-
it this week?
like you just
Oh, completely different direction.
he's still just sprinkled in though.
Mm-hmm.
He's not utilized really in any way. He's another side henchman character guy, which there's a lot of with all of these Batman villains, which makes zero sense.
There's a lot of Batman villains.
There is, and that's why it's like
and
you
a
have so
pre-Batman place.
Well, there's only 90 years or so of Batman to work from.
But isn't one of the storylines that comes up with Batman a lot is they're there because of Batman?
Yes.
They-
Especially the Joker.
It's a direct
Correlation.
effect.
But now
Escalation.
they've all escalated before Batman. So
So let's
No,
talk
it's
about
okay
this.
because he stands at the top of a building and looks, dark.
Batish.
that would turn a villain into a supervillain.
Andy had a nightmare dream where Gordon had a mustache.
I would
Yeah.
like
We
to...
all needed that, the origin of the mustache.
Actually, I hear the mustache might be greenlit for its own show.
Soon.
There you go.
So, I would like to discuss this moment since we've complained about something similar to this in every episode we've done. Selena visits Bruce to ask for help in making amends for Ivy's murder. We talked about that. Ivy finds Bruce and poisons him, where he hallucinates a mysterious cloaked figure and a swarm of bats. What did you think of this moment and any of the ensuing ones?
It had bats in it.
I was just.
It still should have been, like later they have Scarecrow dose him. It should have been in that scene.
I know.
Like it should be a deeply ingrained fear of bats.
When I thought for sure, I thought, okay, they did the bats. He has not processed the bats. He doesn't seem too affected by the bats. He's just seen a glimpse of his future. That's what he kept saying. But then, when he was walking through the building that had the poison gas that he went with Selena to go try to find Alfred, who he thought was being tortured. I thought, okay.
And his creepy inner Batman talks to him.
Yes, I thought for sure he was going to start hallucinating some bats. There were no bats. I don't think they understand the Batman part of the bats.
Yeah, they don't understand that the whole persona is him overcoming the fear from a very traumatic incident as a child.
Can I just tell you?
And
On
they've
the
passed
heels
it
of his
completely.
parents' murder, right.
Like, really, of all the on-screen versions in Batman Begins, when he finally goes down into that cave, all the bats swarm him, and immediately, you know, he panics, and then he slowly rises in it. Christian Bale played that whole part beautifully. That is what I want to see, not this crap. The end.
Yeah, they've missed their
Get a thing
opportunity.
across her throat. Like,
Honestly,
this is it.
the bat fear and that stuff should have happened in season 1.
Yeah.
That should have been one of the building blocks that was the foundation of where they were going to take the character.
I mean,
Now
how
it's an afterthought.
hard would it even have been just a couple scenes of him like waking up from a bad nightmare and then Alfred comforting him? Just like little things that you could have just thrown in that only would have taken
Nuances.
seconds, but are important to the character.
Just saying. I have so many emotions.
She has passion.
Because
Yes.
we all love it. It's all a part of us, obviously. Well, maybe a little less Nick, but even still to some degree you too.
Well, I mean,
He likes the animated series.
No,
That's
Batman is a part of
respect.
everybody's life now. I mean,
It's
from whether it's
iconic.
What
the
I like,
60s, the
Michael
animated.
Keaton Batman. I was at the right age for Batman Forever and even Batman and Robin to be enjoyable when I watched it back then.
There's nothing
you're like the
enjoyable
same
about
age.
bat nipples.
Right? Did you not? Did you hate Batman Forever when it came out?
I did.
It wasn't good.
Was that
I
the one
probably
with
enjoyed
Two-Face in the
yeah.
Riddler?
Oh, wait, Batman Forever with
Yeah.
Val Kilmer? No, I
Yeah.
did not hate that one.
I
Yeah,
did.
I enjoyed
because
that when it came out.
Two-Face should never flip his coin until he gets the answer he wants.
Two-Face was the worst part of the movie.
Two-Face
that
is
wasn't Tommy
literally-
Lee Jones's
And
fault.
I might be one of the few people that thinks that Jim Carrey actually made a great Riddler.
I thought it was a great Riddler.
I mean, if you're going to the Frank Gorshin
Yeah.
He
60s,
was-
which is what they were, then yeah, he was fine. I
don't
much
mind
prefer
Batman.
the Sherlock Holmes genius Riddler.
I would
with
have liked him to have
nice
been
suit and
darker.
cane.
I would have liked
But-
him to be
Yeah,
darker,
darker.
but
Yeah.
I think probably just because I grew up watching the Frank Gorsh
They
from
made
the
him
original
Well, which isn't
series.
inaccurate, because the first Riddler, the Riddler from like the 40s, that's how he was.
Mm-hmm.
They changed him to the more suave Riddler, I think, around the 60s or 70s, but they're both accurate. So
And they
he was
definitely
still
wanted
accurate.
that, or they would not have cast Jim Carrey so
Yeah, they all have their
quickly after
evolutions.
Ace
Even like
Ventura
Harley
and the
Quinn,
Man.
which was created in the 90s, has had many evolutions since then. So that's...
Well, and they actually almost did the more suave Riddler. The guy that played Lionel Luthor was cast,
Oh.
but then they could get Jim Carrey, so then
They're like,
switched.
see you later, Lionel.
Yeah.
Well, all I know is that I love Corey Michael Smith, and I don't think it's his fault, but the storyline this time sucked. It was creepy that he liked Lee, maybe less creepy than the Penguin thing, fine, but it still was creepy.
I'm still kind of bothered, like, none of his riddles are that good.
They're not good. Even the Riddle Factory, the
I mean, if
game
you watch-
show with the big question mark
Like,
and the wheel.
since you're speaking of Frank Gorshin, watch any episode of the Riddler episodes from the 66 Batman movie, and his
Those were
Riddlers
clever.
are clever and funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always
He's
funny, but
actually
they are
what
clever.
made the Riddler
Yeah.
my favorite villain, was the Frank Gorshin.
And you're right, it's not the actor, it's the script.
It's the scripts. Because he was great for a long time, as was Robin Lord Taylor.
Well,
up
they were the
until
two
this
best
point.
villains up until this
Well,
point,
like
and then they
Peg-
crushed them both out by trying to create
Without-
stories for these ancillary characters that we don't care about in the first place.
Right.
Well, as I said, in Penguin's all big plan is to get revenge on Tabitha, right?
That was a big twist.
Well,
Yeah.
he enacted it, yeah. I mean, he's achieved it. He shot newly restored by Hugo Strange, Butch.
I will say I was not expecting that.
I was not expecting it, but we all know he's Solomon, right? So he's not dead.
Oh, I interpreted them as killing him off because they knew
He-
the
he-
show was going to be over.
Well,
From my understanding, he is gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, they
They might
had
not
a
have-
farewell party for the actor and everything was what I'd read.
They might not
around
have
the time.
known that, but
Do they
once
not
they announced it
understand
was
this
the last
character?
season, I think they just aren't going to do anything with him in these 13 episodes.
they
have
could
to
probably
make
throw
way-
something in at the end since they got rid of the character. Because Solomon Grundy, like, if you do manage to kill him, a few days later he wakes back up.
Right.
That's part of his.
But that actor, there was an article about his farewell with the cast and everything and how sad it was and yada yada yada.
I mean, they don't actually follow the characterization, so, I mean, maybe they don't even understand what's... I mean, they don't understand what Solomon Grundy is. So sure, I'm sure he's dead.
That doesn't mean they won't surprise us, though. Knowing that it's the last season, they may pull out all the
I mean,
stops.
yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised in the finale.
They did
he
not
popped
pull
in.
out
Was the
stops with that
farewell
Bane costume.
article? Was the farewell article before the announcement?
Before the announcement of the show being cancelled.
Okay, then yeah, they probably will. Because otherwise, it just doesn't. I mean, I don't. It's not that I love him, but since they made him Solomon Grundy, he might as well be Solomon Grundy. And they
He might as
followed
well,
the
but-
rule when he got shot in the head the first time. So why would he not follow the rule now?
Because Hugo Strange did
strange.
whatever to him.
Hugo Strange turned him back into...
Speaking of
Butch
which,
Cassidy.
what weird thing are they gonna have him do to Riddler and Lee?
Oh my God!
When he's standing there, it's like, what am I like? I keep picturing like them like Siamese twin together, and I'm like, oh my God, no.
And I actually detest Hugo Strange the way they have him in this show.
Oh my gosh, I really don't like it.
I don't like the way he is portrayed even slightly. I can't
He's
stand
kind
the
of
actor.
ripping on George Takei right now.
He is.
Yeah.
Which I find a little weird.
There's just nothing about
It's not a
that
nice
character in
homage
this
or
that I like
anything.
at
It's
all.
Yeah, it's a
It's
little
rude.
rude. George Takei is beloved. He's the one who gets to say, "Oh my, oh my
Come on, you're
goodness."
going to deliver that with gusto if you're going to do it.
I can't right now. Gotham has deflated me. Oh, yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to say.
It's
We
one
covered a
of
lot
those
of
shows
stuff.
that
I mean,
has moments.
Jerome's rampage for
Yeah,
me
we
was
can
the highlight.
we can talk back. We
especially,
didn't really talk about Jerome that
especially
much.
the scene when Bruce is saving him at the diner, and then Catwoman comes in and he completely misunderestimates her.
Yes.
Oh, I know you
See,
won't
that's
shoot me.
that's
And then
another
she immediately
moment
tries.
that I can.
Yeah, and that
handle.
moment is pure Bruce, Selina from like comic books, and even the Joker. So I really love those episodes. But then once again, it would cut right back to Barbara, and then I'd zone out again.
He wanted to stab himself in the eye.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that was me.
When Barbara comes on screen, it's like an extra commercial break for
Yeah.
me. It's when I go off to the bathroom or make some tea.
Well, and really, I mean, I think I think you're right. The two major high points were sort of the Valeska train, if you will, starting with Jerome, and the quiet moments with Bruce and Selina and Alfred. And Bruce reconciling with Alfred was nice. Big hug, you know.
Oh, and Jerome at that concert playing the '66 Batman theme.
Yes!
That was great.
I was like, that's not a
Thank you
subtle
for a good Easter egg. Yes.
Right. Well, he was kind of doing a Cesar Romero. I mean, he got a little bit of all the Jokers at some point.
He has been a high point in this half season.
Yeah.
Cameron Moynihan does a very good job of being not Joker.
Well, I was reading
Joker,
an
not
interview
Joker.
with him, and he just loves comic books. And like he said, once they announced again that Jeremiah wasn't the real Joker, he's like, okay, if you guys want to go for a third Joker, I'll still play it. Because he loves being involved. He said he's happy to be able to touch any DC property.
Well, and he
see-
left Shameless. He's got time.
But see, that's what I'm saying. It's that passion. That's what's going to drive all the best stuff. And he said that so many times. So it's just.
He being Spencer.
So, sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
For those of you who can't see the hand signals.
It's just, but I mean, that's where you're going to get the best stuff from. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're saying. The
I
best.
think Batman should be that hard to get right.
Right.
I 110%.
I think Superman's harder to get right. I think Batman, I don't know.
Well,
think they're
even
equal.
in the comic books
They
right now,
both-
Superman's having trouble with them getting him right and finding the right balance.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, I think you're saying that in some ways because both of these properties particularly have been around like the longest, or some of the longest.
I think the thing with Batman is that he had flaws from the get-go. So he's transitioned well through time to today's type of character, which there aren't really characters on TV that aren't flawed in some way. We don't have the perfect characters anymore. And Superman suffers because Superman has always been kind
He's
of an
not morally
unflawed,
flawed,
perfect character, and that's what I think where they're struggling with.
Well, people thought the same thing about Captain America, but look how good Marvel's done adapting that character. Because everyone's like, oh, he's too good. He's not interesting. But Marvel movies did just fine with it, so I don't know why they can't do something similar with Superman.
Yeah, Superman, you just have to realize you can take advantage. Like, villains have to be smart enough to take advantage of. Just because he's physically flawless doesn't mean that you can't put him in a
Yeah,
situation
he's
where
fairly
who does
easy.
he save in this situation? How does he?
Well,
You just
and-
have to be creative enough, which I think it can be difficult.
Yeah, and the key about Superman is that no matter how super he is, how physically flawless he is, he still just wants to be like us.
Right.
Right? That's his whole theme. So why they don't know how, maybe it's hard to capitalize on that because what's just like us right now can't even be defined. You know,
Right.
we have kind of a weird, tense society with a lot of different factors pulling at it. Batman, though, you're
Just
right.
have him get a
really
Facebook
shouldn't be
account.
hard.
That'll ruin him.
What?
Just have Superman get a Facebook account. That'll ruin him.
Oh no!
Twitter.
Don't do it, Superman.
Stay
I
off the
feel-
social media.
I'm pretty
Clark.
sure Clark Kent would not do it.
No, he's too busy wanting to be a journalist. He's already in the media. But Batman, he is flawed. He rides the line.
His
He doesn't-
persona,
he's half dark, half light by his definition.
But even the light side has a darkness flaw to it, and
I was
even the
gonna
dark
say,
side has
right.
a lightness to
Right.
it.
It's not a
Batman
perfect
truly
split.
is probably the most perfect character ever written in comic book canon. Stands the test of time to me better than any of the others.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. That's why we're here. I have nothing to say. The only thing that keeps going through my brain right now is they ruined the Riddler.
It does hurt, and they ruin Penguin.
And next season you have a weird Hugo Strange experiment Riddler to look forward to. So how
Which
much
I'm
higher
not-
can it go?
Oh gosh, my heart will break into 1,000 million pieces.
He'll have gills like fish.
Well, now we've
no.
also got the race to get to that 13th episode where we finally see Bruce transition to Batman, and they
Yeah.
end it
It's
there.
going to flash forward 10 years.
Is that true?
Yeah. The finale's going to flash
I
forward
just
10
don't
years.
care.
to
Why are
this
they
point
even
Batman.
saying that much?
To try and keep people interested.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get viewers who are already on the fence to watch a final season when they know it's the final
I've read
season.
I've read through comment forums on articles and things about Gotham. The theme is the same. Either people tried to watch it and were so appalled by what they were watching they left, or the people that know Batman, like we do, want to watch Batman say, it's really, really bad. But there are moments that keep me coming back
And that's
to
exactly
watch
what it is for me. There are moments that keep me coming back to the show that allow me to continue watching it, and there's a sense of relief knowing that the end is coming.
Like the moment, so now we can transition, beautiful segue. The moment that I enjoyed was at the end of the season, which, I mean, I guess they're getting to something closer to something. So, at the end of the season, they've let off all these bombs that Jeremiah made. They were self-sustaining power generators. You overload them, they become bombs. He blows up all the bridges into the city. So now Gotham City is an island with no power. Everybody's been evacuated because of the bombs, and all that's left are these criminals and whoever has decided to stay behind to fight them, which includes Bruce Wayne. Jim Gordon shines a light into the sky. It doesn't have a bat in it, but there's still a light shining into the sky, and it beckons Bruce to the rooftop, who has stayed behind because he's now going to accept his destiny, whatever that means. And they have a talk about their fight that's coming and the fight that they're going to do together. Like, Jim is resigned to the fact that Bruce has made this decision. What do we think about this moment?
Isn't one of those, they flash to a bunch of crazy people that
Taking
are,
over the territories for no man's land.
Yeah, they're
Don't
staking their claim.
don't they flash to like a human bat thing?
That's Man-Bat,
That's
one of
Man-Bat.
Batman villains. That's
He's
Batman
already
yeah.
been escaped.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he's going to end up on that signal, and that's how they get the idea to use it as a bat signal?
Like a
I mean,
moth.
the quality of the writing, yeah.
It's possible.
No, he's gonna fly up in front of it like the bat plane in the movie.
Oh
That
no!
was a
It looked
good
like a
shot.
circle.
You know what's terrible? What if Nick just gave him that idea?
I don't know. Gotham doesn't listen to us like the CW shows. Because if they did, we wouldn't be here.
I did like the redemption of Harvey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked seeing him come back in and find himself and be the Harvey. Donnell Logue is one of the better actors out there. I'd like to see him get another show very soon after this ends, where he's a lead again, because he really brings a good character and a gritty performance to everything he does.
No, that was nice. And the fact that he got to be the hero with just luck and fingers crossed.
Totally a Harvey Bullock thing.
I gotta do it. It's gonna be done. Yeah, it was
Their role
great.
should still be reversed, though. Like, you should feel that way about Gordon.
Yeah, Bullock feels more like Gordon in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it
The
just doesn't
second
make
half,
sense.
anyway.
I mean, I do like him, too. He's a great actor. And those moments, again, you can be like, okay, but it should still be the other way around. Like you said, you're, like, happy for Bullock, but you don't care about Jim Gordon. What?
Jim Gordon turned a light on.
That's true.
A big light.
Basically, he's
But
costing
by
the
the
city
time-
thousands
Yeah.
of dollars by putting an overpowered light into the sky for whatever reason.
But I'm not looking
He
forward to the
wanted
next
to
season.
show people that there were still people in Gotham fighting. That's what he said.
I mean, that storyline is called No Man's Land, and it should happen when
I think
Batman's
that's what the
much
subtitle
older.
of the next season is.
That's when Batman's much older. It wasn't one of my favorites in the comics to begin with, just because of how unrealistic it is.
But now it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
Well, isn't that what leads to the breaking of the bat?
that was before.
Okay.
Joker goes crazy, blows up all the prisons, and Arkham.
That's right.
So that way, Batman is completely exhausted. So when he has to fight Bane, he has nothing left.
Nothing left, yep. That's right.
Okay, actually, brilliant segue mentioning Bane.
Boo!
So we've already talked about that Fox has announced season 5 will be the last. Apparently it'll be 13 episodes. It's going to start sometime after the new year. What do you have predictions-wise, if anything?
I predict Bane will suck.
Bane is supposed to appear in it. Played by Shane West. Wasn't he on Dawson's Creek? What was he on?
He was on a
One of
bunch of
those
stuff
shows.
in the early 2000s.
He was not on Dawson's Creek.
One of those, I didn't watch it.
And I watch romantic movies
did
movies
watch.
based on Nicholas Sparks' books.
Absolutely seems like the perfect place to pull Bane from.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen him associated with some sort of teen drama. I don't think
He was
he's...
also
a-
on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, that wasn't a good movie.
Who did he play in that?
He was in it. He was in that
Tom's-
movie with Mandy Moore, right? A Walk
Yeah,
to
Tom
Remember?
Sawyer.
That stupid
Let's
movie?
just say we're not happy about the casting.
I'm
We're
not-
not happy about the costume that we've seen
Well, she
so
was
far.
trying to. She distracted me with the dog.
I know, I can't remember. He was in something teenagery and romantic and something.
But he's literally the last guy you should cast as Bane.
Yeah, he's kind of small.
Well,
And Bane is
but
usually Latino.
Bane does
I just-
start
okay.
out smaller.
Yeah, he's
And
pre-Bane.
he needs the venom.
That's
so
why
we
he
could
has
be
that
seeing
jacket.
pre-Bane
They're gonna
Bane.
puff up that jacket like in Back to the Future 2 when he's drying.
Right! So that's where I'm at. Okay, I get that. But the picture I've seen, he's
Yeah,
already in the costume.
So
Here's what they're doing with Bane.
And
which
it's not a
has me-
good costume.
In the comics, Bane grew up in a prison.
yeah,
Yes.
in South
He's a
America.
genius. He's
Yes,
a
I
genius.
know
He's
that.
the same intellect level as Batman.
Yeah.
And he's very physical. He's just as physically fit as Batman. And
Yeah.
then they start to experiment on him
Yep.
with this stuff called Venom.
Yeah.
He becomes addicted to it, so he has it directly implanted in the base of his skull.
Yeah.
Cerebral cortex. And
He's really hard on the video game.
But-
Continue.
Yes.
Anyway,
No,
what
it's not.
the movie version of Bane instead did was have him be in constant pain, and it's a painkiller. So this version is literally going the next step from the movie version and having him be in constant pain to where he has to have a life support system on him at all times.
Like Darth Vader.
Like Darth Vader.
Uh-huh.
That's not Bane. For me, Bane should be strong to begin with, like and already a threat to Batman. And then when he dials up his venom,
His roids.
yeah, it's super villain level of strength. Something that stronger than Batman, but is just as smart as Batman. If you have a guy that has a life support system on him, literally every inch of him is a vulnerability.
And he's going to sound like he's had cancer from smoking.
Yeah.
It just...
It's stupid.
And the costume, the picture I've seen, it looks like they dug up someone from the 1960s
I wanna take a
costume
picture
team
of your
for
face.
the old Doctor Who shows.
Oh.
Because how bad and cheesy that stuff was. Go to a Comic-Con
charming.
and pull someone out
Yeah.
who does cosplay would have done a better job than
I'll say the weird padding in his arms alone, even if you forget like the weird chest piece in the mouth, the way they have his arms padded up to look muscular is the most unrealistic anatomy thing I've ever seen.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's no way to over-exaggerate how bad it looks.
It's like you're trying to shoot for something maybe that's in the middle, like you said, but it's just not working.
It's like a 7-year-old made a Darth Vader costume.
Well, because he doesn't need to have his mouth covered like that. Is that only in the Christopher Nolan?
It's only
Yeah.
the Christopher Nolan version.
So they don't...
Yeah, he talks normal. His
Because in the
mouth's not
Christopher
Yeah,
Nolan,
that's
normally his
that's what I
mask,
thought.
his mask looks like a lucha libre Mexican wrestler, which for the movie they thought it looked ridiculous, so they tried to come up with something that that kind of showed like roughly where there's holes for his eyes would roughly look like the eyes on his mask. They tried to come up with something that was an homage to it and gave you the same impression of his mask.
And maybe add a little scare factor to
it.
But nobody can understand Tom Hardy.
At least they put thought into it. This is like, well, the movie, people seem to like those movies.
Exactly. It's like, oh, that movie made this much money, so let's do an extreme version of that.
The Dark Knight Rises, but
but extreme, but low budget.
Really
extremely
low budget.
low budget.
Now it's so sad because Solomon Grundy can't stand next to his Bane and this extra ridiculousness.
Well, he would be bigger than Bane too.
That's true.
I know Shane West is not that big of a guy, so even if they wanted to make him like smaller to start, they're padding his arms.
Maybe he'll always be standing on an apple box, and everyone else will be in a trench.
This is just a sad
Well, and it's
story
weird
ever.
because it's like the Dark Knight Rises movie tied Bane into No Man's Land too, which was there. He's never had anything to do with No Man's Land in the comics, and then now they're literally just ripping off the third Nolan movie and having him tied into No Man's Land the same. So it's like they're not even drawing from the comics. They're literally just watching the most popular Batman stuff and then cherry picking what they want from it.
It's like one of Hugo Strange's experiments, all sewn together and not belonging.
No.
It was an apt analogy, though. So how do you think the show...
Stop trying to make it better.
I'm not. I was actually trying to be visual.
And they did also say, because people were jokingly asking them if Bane's going to break young Bruce's back. No, he's breaking Alfred's back. Because they're
Why tell us all of this stuff?
Yeah.
Should they just release the scripts
That's what they
now?
said.
God's sakes. Just release the scripts. Don't even bother putting it on the TV.
That is the most worked up I've ever heard about any of these podcasts.
What does that accomplish?
It doesn't.
I'll tell you what, here's my being very pissed off right now.
And here's why that annoys me, though, because every season finds a reason for Alfred to get sent to the hospital and be put out of the story. But it's like, he's such a good actor, like, you don't have to do that every season.
Yeah, why are you... Again,
every season he gets stabbed by somebody for Bruce, or he gets stabbed by Bruce.
It's like the repetitive Jim Gordon cycle.
That's probably going to help motivate Bruce to be Alfred's protector. I don't know.
They've already done that.
Yeah.
Alfred gets hurt, Bruce goes, I'm going to go out on my own, and they're just...
And we have a billowing cloak and a ski mask.
Well, yeah, they have to redo that story again.
So how do you think the show will end, and what do you hope to see or wish to see at the end of Gotham, if anything?
I'm excited to see it end, yeah.
It's going to wither and finish with a whimper.
I'm going to get you all nice gifts for sticking to it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say that I really, in spite of the rare moments of enjoyment that I do get from it, I really wouldn't watch it anymore.
I wouldn't be
I would
keeping
never
up with
rewatch
it. I wouldn't have been keeping up with it.
I wouldn't.
I would like to see a very artistic final shot where you see the yellow Batman emblem with the black bat in the middle coming out of a smoky alley, and that would be where it finishes.
That's
yeah, I mean,
very
I would like to.
It won't happen.
The way I would like it to end is how you first see Batman in the '89 movie: two crooks over their loot, and then there's the billowing smoke, and you just see him like drop down or rise up, and then you could just end it there, and I would be okay. But
just give it that little pop of color with that yellow and black Batman emblem, and that's perfect.
To give deference to the fact that they've explored the villains so much, if they're going to do it, they might as well get them to their ends too. The Riddler should be the Riddler. The Penguin should be the Penguin.
I don't want to give away, but yeah, Penguin's going to be fat, like his comic books, because they were just doing makeup tests on Robin Lord Taylor.
Fixes everything.
But they
How do we fix it? Let's put Robin Lord Taylor in a fat suit.
When he's fat.
I'm just kidding.
Penguin's not a young villain.
No.
So that's why he's fat.
But they are jumping forward.
They are jumping forward,
so
and
that
they said they're going to give every
Robin
villain...
Lord Taylor's like 30.
Due.
So he went 10... Okay.
Yeah, so the whole 10-year leap thing is going to show us all of them.
Now, is the 10-year leap partway through the season, or is that the whole season is a 10-year?
Finale.
So just the last episode?
Yeah, just the last episode.
I really love most of these actors,
Weird,
minus Barbara.
Yeah.
Whatever
even
her
that's
real
ripping
name
off
is.
Smallville.
Aaron Richards.
Because Smallville did the 10-year leap, and then they showed him being Superman.
Well, this was intended to be a Smallville
one
clone
of the
with Batman.
best season finales ever.
Mm-hmm.
I literally cannot watch the season finale of Smallville without getting teary. Go back and watch it if you haven't watched it in a while. It's good.
Never watched it.
Oh, it's so good.
Even if you don't watch
It's
the
on
show,
Hulu.
just watch the 2-part finale. And it's a perfectly
it's-
good standalone Batman or Superman story. Sorry.
No, it's really worth it.
It's literally...
Except for the Supergirl season. but it's still okay.
I don't mind that. Like, seriously, that seems like freaking Shakespeare compared to, like...
No, Shakespeare sucks.
Oh, jeez.
This is like Shakespeare compared to something good.
I lost the plot.
I don't like Shakespeare.
You were just in a play being a Shakespeare.
For a moment, I had to learn some Shakespeare lines. I get that, but no, I don't like Shakespeare. So you can't say that.
I'm gonna
I feel
disagree
like we're
with
out
you.
to buy a shrubbery right now, and I lost the plot.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree, but
He's like, yeah, part. Okay.
actually, I feel like the disagreement thing happens way more with Kristen, except for randomly the last 2 episodes. What in the hell is happening?
4 episodes.
Nuh-uh.
They agreed on the Marvel ones too.
They agreed on the Marvel ones so much that Netflix had to cancel those shows.
That's Kristen's fault.
Or both of you. Equal opportunity.
No, because if you go back and listen to them, she says multiple times, I actually agree with Spencer on this. She says that a lot.
I know.
I don't say I agree with Kristen on this at all.
I see. Interesting logic. I will pose that to her next time.
She is the reason that they cancelled Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
So I like the Riddler to have his cane.
Yes.
And, his
I mean, he's looked very good. They just
he's
haven't
been very
used him.
close.
He has been
They
very
just
close.
haven't utilized him properly.
No, they haven't. And I just enjoy him a lot. I think he channels a little bit of each of the Riddlers, too.
You're crushing on him.
I do have a little crush. Not as much as Stephen Amell or any of my 5. But I still like him.
Any of my friends.
He's not in my 5, but I do like him a lot. And the Riddler is my favorite villain, always has been. I don't know why I like the riddles, I guess.
He's smart.
He's smart.
He's a smart villain.
He's crazy. He's green and purple. Those are good colors.
He's narcissistic.
Yeah, there's part of that. That's not why I like him.
That was a sisterly jab there.
He's less chaotic than the Joker.
Which is a good balance for that universe.
Yeah, it's a good balance. I like him in the Arkham games because he's the voice of...
The Arkham games are fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, that really feels like you're, again, immersed in the world. There's a full story.
Exactly. That's my favorite part of the games is all the little clues he drops and then...
And you never even, really see him. Like, you don't
never
need
see
to.
him. No. He's just little recordings or he found... Yeah.
He has his puzzles.
That's what I want the Riddler to be.
Oh, they should bring the puzzler in.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
This is not the same. So nobody has it. You just want it to end. That's what
It kind of is at that point.
Yeah.
I just
I mean,
hope
that
they
Spencer
drop
described
the
the,
Mad
and
Hatter,
I...
too.
They
I'd be
dropped
happy
him.
if they dropped the Mad Hatter. I don't like
Yeah, I don't like the guy playing Mad
he's
Hatter or the
terrible.
incarnation they have of the Mad Hatter.
The way
I
they
don't
gave him like
understand
a
the
supernatural almost ability with his
he
a
doesn't
Kilgrave
have that.
ability.
He's,
Like it's lazy for the plots.
And his
He's
rhymes
too
are
powerful
dumb.
and-
His rhymes are dumb. They just are. There's usually, some meter in there, maybe some
Which I don't even know why they did that. He doesn't do that all the time in the
No,
comics.
he
He talks
doesn't.
normal all the time.
He does. I know. They're really supposed to be punctuated moments, like he's doing the poem because he's getting ready to do something. He's just talking to talk like that. It's terrible and awful. Oh, we forgot to mention PS2. That the...
PlayStation 2?
Yes.
I mean, it was a good system.
That's where I went to. That's because we're on PlayStation 4, Kylie.
I'm on 3. The club...
get with it, man.
I went to Nintendo for a while. The club is called the Sirens.
No, I don't even want to talk about that.
That hurt your heart, didn't it?
It literally feels like I'm being stabbed.
Well, I mean, there's only one member of the Sirens in the show. I don't count Poison Ivy.
Yeah, there is no Harley Quinn, and that's not Poison Ivy, and Selena really doesn't have that much to do with any of that. Why in the hell are they calling it the Sirens? They can
As
kiss
an
my ass.
homage.
No.
As
that's-
an Easter egg
That's
that has
not-
gone very, very bad.
Yeah, they've taken it too far.
No.
No, they didn't take it too far?
I mean, just stop.
Okay. You're just on,
I'm angry.
autopilot. No.
If you think about career arc for the writers on this show, what do you think? Dog food commercials afterwards?
You're assuming they're going to get jobs.
That's what the actor who
I've
played
seen
Robin
some pretty clever
does
dog
now
food commercials,
from
Spencer.
the original Batman.
Word?
He developed a dog food that was more heart healthy for dogs.
Interesting.
Holy Pantone, Batman!
I like it! Way to go, Burt Ward.
Hey, he
Look
made
it up.
something of him.
He
I'm
said,
sure you're
look it up.
Hey,
He makes Gentle Giants.
He makes
brand,
bank
maybe?
at Comic-Con. Get a picture with him in the Batmobile.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Him
At
and
least
Adam-
by himself now, though.
But still, they
Yeah.
both love doing. I mean, and when Adam West was still here, he still loved to do it.
I know
did
he
that
called
animated-
himself the Bright Knight
What?
because he was the campy version.
And that animated movie looked worth watching.
It's
That
actually
Adam
good.
West and Burt Ward came back.
It
They
wasn't
actually did
bad.
too, and they had William Shatner do Two-Face, and he did a really good job
That's
too.
weird.
It is weird, but he does like he goes out of his usual William Shatner voice
He's acting.
and his cadences, and he's actually really good. Because he does like two different voices for Two-Face, was being good or evil.
Has he become less pompous?
Yeah, I think so.
Because he doesn't take direction.
No.
Oh my gosh, he was Two-Face. That's all I got. I still like the 1966 TV show.
It's entertaining.
It's very entertaining in its own way.
Loved it as a kid.
Speaking of that,
But that's all
whatever
the Batman
happened
we
to
could get.
Harvey Dent on Gotham?
Yeah, the
He
actor
went to
went on
that
to something
one other
else.
TV show and they just
Surprised
forgot
they
him.
didn't just recast him 3 more times.
That is true. But
That
I remember
begs
asking
the question.
Or his brother, Harvey Dent, 2.
Harold Dent.
Harold.
Yeah, it just has business cards H. Dent. We don't talk about his first name.
Yeah, this thing sucks.
It really does. It had such great potential.
Those
It had
moments-
some fantastic moments.
I think the moments in previous seasons had more hope to it, but we know it's ending, and we've seen
We've
way
seen
But now
there is
hope
no
is
hope.
for the
Yeah,
end.
yep.
The Force is not with them.
And
Well, I'm glad I
It's
didn't
not
make
David's
myself
fault. It's not
believe it.
Sean's fault. It's,
It's
not
not any of
Robin's
the
fault.
actors' fault.
The actors have not
Except
been the
for Aaron.
problem. No, yeah.
But honestly, she's probably doing what they've given her. I mean, she's
Well, they
dumb,
didn't know
but-
what to give her, or whatever they've given her, they've changed.
Yeah, arguably she sucked from the beginning and they altered it for her, but...
I do love when Barbara Keene woke up and was talking to Ra's al Ghul, where she goes, "Everybody hates me and I don't know why." And it's like, I feel like you're talking to the audience.
Yeah, that was another.
It probably was a writer line.
I know why. Because you suck. I've always hated that character. Oh, and also Echo, if you noticed, which was Jeremiah's assistant in the maze bunker.
Yeah,
Or
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, the Harley
Oh.
Quinn. I'm like, that
Yeah.
was such. Yeah. Thank you. Blah.
On the nose.
They're like, we're not actually going to make Barbara Harley Quinn anymore, so how else can we kind of like...
This character you've never seen and who doesn't speak.
Right. Well, because she's under the gas at that point.
She was actually not that bad, though.
No.
As an actual character in the episodes she was in.
Well, even
It
as
was
a
stronger,
creepy, non-speaking
kind of cool character.
Harlequin, like with the guns, like I thought that was actually a pretty, like their most creative take. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, because he's had sidekicks called Judy, like Punch and Judy.
Yep.
And so I was like, if she was Judy, she's a perfect interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was fine with him having a henchwoman. I would have preferred if the more Jerome Joker had a henchwoman like that.
Yeah.
Versus the one who's obviously not going clown theme, but...
They've done worse. We all agree. It wasn't better, it was worse this time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's definitely
I
better.
thought,
Or was it the same?
It's the disjointed mess that it's been all day long.
I think it was worse than the last half season, though. Because the last half season had better things in it.
I don't know.
It-
I really hated Sophia Falcone.
I did not.
It's
And
all-
I like the more Jerome episodes.
Yeah, the
so,
Jerome
Just-
episodes
I
are the
don't
So
like
for
highest.
me, it goes a little bit... I
It's
mean,
a
not
wash.
much. I mean, they're still not great, but it's still a little bit better than the first half.
It's
See, I like
that show
Professor
that has
Plum.
its moments that give you a little bit of hope, and then Barbara Keene
Takes
shows
it
up
all
on the
away.
stage, or
Or they make Riddler bad.
yeah, the ruining of Riddler and Penguin in this last half season was
To me, that's the thing that broke it.
it really
It's
did.
unforgivable to me, because they were the two good characters. I mean, Bruce is good, Selena's good, Alfred's good, yes.
But as villains,
As villains,
they were the
they're
best
telling
ones.
the origin stories, they were the best ones. And the villains are the big draw for people for Batman. They're all so different and interesting, and they were so good, and they've broken them. Both
yeah,
of
in the
them.
beginning when we first did this, the first season, I even said, like, I categorized myself as that Riddler Penguin because the description was, you're just here to see some origin take on the villains. Yeah, sure, that's what I was, but it's so, I've said it 100 times, it's just so far off from what I originally set out thinking that this was going to be. I wouldn't finish it if I did not have to.
So, we know you're going to keep watching, because at this point, why not, right?
Yeah.
We have to.
I mean, I kind
I
of have to
mean,
see the
just
train
have a
wreck
panel.
of Bane in person. This still doesn't do it justice, I'm sure.
And I know you'll each want to take your opportunities to have one final big vent session.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
for sure.
A post-mortem.
And recommending it.
A eulogy.
I would not.
Actually, I think it's more
recommend
going to be a roast.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Roast. That's a better term. Okay.
There were some early seasons that if you didn't know Batman, there was a chance that this as a show could have been entertaining, but the writing, even if you take Batman out of it, the writing for all the characters
because you even
are so
said before
disjointed.
you didn't mind it not even as invested overall in the property.
Right, like there
Like
are
the
moments
crime
that it
dramas
is,
and stuff.
yeah,
In the first season,
it could be
have
considered entertaining, but none of the characters have a consistent arc that I wouldn't force that on
That's
anyone.
the thing. There hasn't been I think Bruce is really the only one that's had a consistent arc.
Well, even
And
then,
it wasn't supposed to be about
They
Bruce.
threw him on the sidelines for a little bit with this
Yeah,
whole
they did.
party boy plot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It was terrible. And don't forget Bizarro Bruce. Court of Owls created Bizarro Bruce.
Yes, who
Of Owls.
disappeared.
Which I'm okay with.
Yes, I'm
just
glad he
saying that
disappeared.
there were, things. There were other things. Continuity is not this
What's
show's
with
friend.
them doing the evil versions of everything?
They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know how to follow their own rules. They don't understand how to tell a story.
I don't think
They
the
don't
show has a
understand how to
Bible.
develop a character. They don't understand that people actually want to see that. Even the Elseworlds stories have a beginning, middle, and end.
Yes.
I literally put off watching the rest of this, way last over everything else
Me too.
that I want to watch and that I was supposed to watch and all of that stuff.
Even more than Luke Cage. Did you need wine?
No, she actually really liked Luke Cage. She
No, I
breezed
meant
through it.
wine for Gotham.
Wine, I needed bourbon.
Also, I had to, I literally had to have a distraction, so...
You had the double screen experience, as Nick calls it.
Second
I mean,
screen.
Second screen.
I needed it. I needed it.
It feels like the writers' room for this is a game of Cards Against Humanity with people that don't know how to play it. The results never make sense. And there's so much of that through this entire 4-season run so far.
So the last question is the one I've been asking for Gotham, but I like it as the last question this time. We all know you're not recommending it, right? Is anybody recommending Gotham?
No.
Watch the last 5 minutes of the last episode to hopefully see a cool Batman reveal.
There's
I don't
that
know, you're
arc we
selling
all
something.
liked with Bruce and Jerome and the mirror.
Oh, that one
The
was
3
really good.
episodes.
Like they
Yeah.
did that 3-episode
In
chunk
the third
well.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. This is the time now when you can talk to the creators of Gotham.
Don't
What would
do
you
it.
say? Stop while you're ahead, if you're even ahead.
Go bleep yourselves.
Plot out a
Doesn't
season.
violate community standards.
It
Like-
didn't. I bleeped it.
No, I know. That's what I said.
I would just say you've had 5 years to pick up a Batman comic and you didn't. There's
And
no
even
helping
if
you.
even if Warner Brothers is limiting you, you've already done all these moments of homages and Easter eggs, as we said. Why couldn't you just have done it cohesively with something that made any bit of sense?
Just plot out your season.
Because
Have
they
a
went
story.
to Wikipedia and they typed in Batman villains and they just kind
Wikipedia
of
is
went
way
meh.
more cohesive.
The visual essence of this show is great. I like what I'm seeing art direction wise. The invocation, the Arkham Asylum looks great.
Gotham looks good.
Wayne Manor looks great.
Do they still film it in Chicago? Did they film it in Chicago?
They
No.
started it in Chicago.
Did they?
Yeah.
This show?
Yeah, the first season at least was filmed in Chicago because we were at Wizard World Chicago.
The year it's filming,
It was
we
filming
got to
there, so
premiere
the
it.
entire cast they popped in,
Corey
and
Michael
then they
Smith,
had the pilot
Robin Lord
episode. They just
Taylor,
finished editing
Carmen
it,
Micandova.
and it was a big surprise
I've
because they
seen
weren't on the
all of
panel.
them.
They were just filming 30 minutes away.
Interesting.
So they came in with the pilot, and we were like, we don't want to watch that, so we
And
skipped
they're so
it.
enthusiastic.
And we didn't need any of them when they were there, and they were doing free
Well,
autographs and free
we ended
pictures
up
with
seeing-
people. But we didn't know anything about them or how they were going to be, so we ended up doing something else.
We
that
never
day.
saw Corey Michael Smith again, but we ended up Carmen Micandova was at Motor City, and she was wonderful. She was very sweet, just very enthusiastic about being a part of it as well. Robin Lord Taylor, again, just happy to be a part of it. Happy that people like him as the Penguin. So that's all nice when I think that takes away some of the sting of its crappiness, but
You know the actors are trying to make a good show, and they've had fun with
they
it.
want,
That's why I think we've kept coming back, other than Have To podcast. It's because I think they're making a good try of it. They have enthusiasm. Even the ones that you don't end up caring about their characters. I think Ben McKenzie's trying. But
Yeah, it's just a extremely poorly written version of Commissioner Gordon, or Jim Gordon, but in his road to becoming commissioner.
Right. I mean, it's visually stunning, but has zero story. It has zero story.
Like, I can literally still see Ben McKenzie as Jim Gordon. I just can't in that world. Like, I would love to see him be him, but in something else starting all over.
That's it. Start all over. And David Mazouz, I mean, he's really grown up on this show. He's a good actor. I've seen him in other things. Yeah. He's a great little Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Sean Pertwee's good.
Well, he is. Little pocket-sized Bruce Wayne. And she's a little pocket-sized Selena Kyle. They're cute.
They are. They're very cute. They have good chemistry. They're good friends now, you know.
Well, they must
They've kind of grown up together.
Only 2 kids on the show, yeah. Except for the girl that was smelly. Not in real life.
We don't know that.
That's a valid
They literally could have pulled a homeless kid off the streets of Chicago for season 1. We don't know that.
She had about the same acting chops.
Most kids
that got
smell.
real.
This is true.
That's the father in the room.
Especially 10 or 11-year-old boys. Oof.
Things to look forward to.
It's at that age where they start developing the smells, but they haven't developed the idea of using deodorant yet. It's good times.
Well, we really got to take somewhere else to end this.
Well, we're doing the same zigzag road that the writers have done.
Okay.
I think that's justified.
Killer Croc.
He's always Killer Kraken.
Killer Kraken.
Anything else you want to say about Gotham Season 4B, or what you hope to see in Season 5, if anything? Which I think is nothing. Other than
I'm intrigued to see Man-Bat, but
who knows if they'll actually show it again.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're never
Well, if the costume for Man-Bat is the same quality as the costume for Bane...
And Grundy.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to any of it, really, except maybe they get closer to what they're supposed to do.
You
My
have
only
to
hope
figure...
is they have a storyline that they stick to. Like, they've planned out these 13 episodes, and they are going to stick to that.
And you just have to figure the budget is going to be extremely low in this last season, so don't expect anything visually brilliant like we've seen.
Well, there's a power outage. Most of the episodes will probably be completely black.
You just hear it punching in.
The one light!
One night.
And then the bat will land on it, and then there'll be a bat signal.
They'll be like,
Man-Bat.
we have an idea.
They don't listen to us. Otherwise, they're going to take ideas. We've given them great ones.
I'm emotionally exhausted.
I'm emotionally exhausted too, which is never a great place to end a podcast episode.
Just
but
please finish it with a beautiful moment, like they did with Smallville. Give us something to forgive you for.
We didn't have to forgive Smallville, though.
Yeah!
I would just like to say that.
I would just like it to end on something of a high that made it all worthwhile. Otherwise, I'll feel like I wasted my time.
Ugh. I just remember being so exciting hearing this was going to be on TV.
Yep. The preview was great. I watch all the trailers for the networks, and it was a great trailer. I was very excited for the show.
I wasn't. I didn't start right away, because it was Batman without Batman.
Yeah, you were way more intrigued by our complaining.
He's nodding.
Well, since we're emotionally exhausted, and I want to wake them back up again, at this point, I would like to thank, with much gratitude, Nick, Kylie, Hilary, and Spencer for joining me to talk about Season 4B of Gotham. They'll be back to talk about Season 5. That'll be in a while. So before we get there, I have to get here by saying CPU is produced by Backpocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, would you take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play? Give us stars, comments, reviews. Let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you don't, what we should keep, what we shouldn't keep. If it's Gotham, you can tell us. We'll take it. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, by email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via Facebook and Twitter. Though, of course, we have new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time, and we have several more new episodes coming down the pike. We're going to get away from our comic book streak for a while again. If you miss old episodes or want to know in general what we cover, we're everywhere. Find us, search for us, Google us. You can Google us. We're awesome. Subscribe to the website, our channels, and social media if you want to keep it easy and not have to search. Until the next time, you can catch up on Gotham by finding all available seasons on that little red icon named Netflix. In the meantime, our CPU Gotham band will next reconvene to discuss Gotham following the airing of the series finale sometime in or around spring or summer of 2019. So until next time, until next episode, new episodes published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned.
Sayonara.
Bye.